We are back from recess. Speaker Barnes, I will recognize you.
Sijus Masi, Madam Speaker, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Before I start on my presentation to speak on the merits of the main question, the bill, Madam Speaker, I'd like to move to make a simple amendment, if I may.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Sijus Masi Tatlu. I move to make a simple amendment to the bill by striking out Section 4 of the bill entirely, which is the appropriation. And I ask that we take a brief recess so legal can help me write this amendment to make sure that everything is in order.
So noted.
On the motion.
There has been a motion to strike out Section 4. Well, before we move forward with that motion, let's have the amendment written out and passed out to our colleagues. Senator Lee, you are recognized. In the meantime, Speaker, you can work on your amendment while we recognize Senator Lee.
Buenas and Hafa colleagues and Sijus Masi, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to a point of personal privilege. I was recognized yesterday and I'd just like to continue my comments.
Please proceed in your point of personal privilege.
I'd like to speak as to the referral of Bill 152-35 COR. Madam Speaker, the bill underwent our core review process, as well as that of the Office of Finance and Budget, who provided a funding availability note. Bill 152 was then referred to the Committee on Heritage and the Arts, and after consulting with the Appropriations Chair in June. Typically, CORE will refer bills to the Appropriations Committee and then they are subsequently re-referred to another committee of jurisdiction. To assist the Appropriations Chair and OFB as they prepared for the FY 2020 budget discussions, and in the name of practicality and efficiency, CORE referred the bill directly to the Committee on the Heritage and Arts. As much as we work to abide by all of our rules, we are not perfect, Madam Speaker. Not one of us is perfect. I've also heard comments about this measure being a rushed process, and I'd like to remind the body that this bill was introduced June 3rd, referred June 28th, and its public hearing was held July 8th. The committee report was filed earlier this month and placed on our agenda during our core meeting last week. Members are encouraged to attend public hearings, and oftentimes objections about measures are brought forward then. I'd also like to add that during the Committee on Rules meetings, the referral of bills, nominations, and resolutions are subject to ratification. The referral of all bills to date, to include Bill 152-35 COR, was ratified without objection. In addition, during last week's core meeting, Bill 152 was placed onto our session agenda without objection. Moreover, Madam Speaker, the entire agenda was again put up to a vote during our core meeting and was adopted without objection. There were over 6 separate opportunities for objections to this measure to be raised. Madam Speaker, we are all human. Hindsight is 2020. I have made mistakes and missteps in the past, but it's important for us to learn from these things. Madam Speaker, I'd also like to address my point of personal privilege granted by you, the presiding officer, during yesterday's session. In accordance with Mason's Chapter 22, Section 222, I rose to give further clarity as it relates to my actions in my representative capacity as the chair of the Committee on Rules. Section 224.2 notes that, and I quote, A member having the floor for this purpose may not be interrupted as long as that person keeps within parliamentary bounds, end quote. I was recognized by the presiding officer and my remarks related to my actions in my representative capacity. Madam Speaker, as important as our standing rules and Mason's manual are to keeping the proper decorum of this august body, I also believe that many members are also mindful of our Chamorro values of respetu and inafat maulik. Respetu and inafat maulik. We are mindful that we are representatives of all of the people of Guam, that we must conduct ourselves in a way that brings honor and respect to the body, to all of our colleagues, and especially to the people we serve, in a way that makes things good for the people of Guam. Situas Masi, Madam Speaker, thank you, colleagues.
Thank you, Senator Lee. Speaker Barnes, do you have the amendment ready?
Can we just ask for a recess, Madam Speaker?
Thank you, Speaker. We are going into recess. Speaker Barnes, you are recognized.
Madam Speaker, if I may, for just clarity's sake, I'm again to move Bill 152-35 COR substituted to the third reading, and I would like to discuss.
Just to clarify, Madam Speaker, we are in second reading.
Right,
Your
I'm moving it
request
to
is
the
to
third.
discuss for now, and
Move to the third reading and with an opportunity to discuss.
we will move to the third reading after we dispose of the debate in the second reading.
Madam Speaker, can I have 5 minutes, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We're back in from recess. Speaker Barnes, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On the motion to proceed, Madam Speaker?
Yes, on the motion, there was a motion made earlier to discuss Bill 152. I'm giving you the floor to discuss Bill 152. We are still in second reading for clarification.
Thank you, Madam
Madam
Speaker. Madam Speaker, Bill number 152-35 intends to move the Guam Film Office from the Guam Economic Development Authority to the Guam Educational Telecommunications Corporation, also known as PBS or KGTF. I want to share with you that looking at the Guam Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, which was developed by GITA, Bureau of Statistics and Plans, as well as the University of Guam, the Guam Film Office is listed as the lowest of the low priorities for economic development strategy on Guam. This list was included in the packet distributed to everyone. Over the last few years, Madam Speaker, the Guam Economic Development Authority has tried to implement this program, a program that was passed 2 terms ago, because the original author is before you today again asking how we can get this program implemented. But Madam Speaker, that has yet to market the program. GITA has tried to implement this program, but has yet to market Guam globally as a hub for the film industry. I want to say that also included in this package, in GITA's presentation, is a list of benefits that are associated with filming activity. These benefits include training to our local residents, support of Guam's local businesses, from caterers to car rentals to hotels to services and hospitality industries. And Madam Speaker, the list goes on. Contained in GITA's presentation, it shows a snapshot of the current filming activity on Guam. And without a full implementation of the film office, on average, Madam Speaker, Guam hosts 100 productions. Each create 20+ jobs. Each spend about $30,000 a day for an average of 3 days, if we say, which can total $90,000, and creates an average captured revenue of $9 million. Without a full implementation, we already stimulate in our economy to the tune of $9 million. On the next page of this presentation that GITA had done, refers to a study which states that the global industry is worth about $88 billion. This further stimulates a global tourism market of approximately $1.2 trillion. In fact, Madam Speaker, it further states that 1 out of 5 tourists are motivated by films or TV programs. That's about 200 million travelers. Film-induced tourism has the potential to double tourism arrivals in the short term, and it keeps paying dividends for many years. As you flip through the pages of their presentation, from 10% to 300% of tourism has increased over the globe, and I'll say from Kansas to Wyoming to Thailand to France. Earlier this year, Madam Speaker, I had the opportunity and I met with the production crew of Netflix's Operation Christmas Drop. As Netflix prepares to roll out this movie on a global scale, Guam will now be greater advertised as a filming location to filmmakers around the globe, and tourists look for their next getaway. You can also find a debrief from the producers of Netflix Operation Christmas Drop, highlighting the challenges filmmakers face when they come to Guam. These put into perspective the shortcomings of our government of Guam and highlights how this bill is vital to bridging this gap. So this bill is vital in bridging this gap. It is my goal, Madam Speaker, as the primary author of this bill, to share our culture and our holiday spirit with the world, and I want to share with you that this bill does just that. That being said, in the short time that they were filming on Guam, I want to share with you $250,000 were spent on 2,000 room nights in 4 local hotels. About 50 cars were rented from local businesses for about 1 to 2 months, and trucks and trailers were rented from local businesses. I want to share with you, Madam Speaker, and to my colleagues that 50 Guamanians were hired and trained as crew members, and hundreds of extras were hired for background work. So over 200,000 were expended to local service industries as well when Netflix was doing their operation here, their location here. Each year, this body has come together and has passed a budget, Madam Speaker. Each year, we either cut textbooks from our schools or a number of police officers from our streets. And Madam Speaker, I don't want to pick between the success of our future generation or the safety of my family or our community. This bill, Madam Speaker, intends to bring in more monies to our local community. I want to make sure that we have textbooks for our children. I want to make sure that we can feel safe in our neighborhoods. And I want to make sure that our island community can further prosper. And I want the world to know how beautiful our island Guam is, the paradise that we live in, a place that I am blessed to call home. And Madam Speaker, as I say that, when this industry was being talked about, I want to say that even during Governor Ricky Berdalio's time and our former Speaker Ben Pangilinan, who literally supported these efforts in moving this industry forward, realized that we had waited a long time. When this bill for the Guam Economic Development Authority was passed so that our island can look into a new industry that can bring in new jobs, new opportunities for training, to bring the level and the caliber of our experts here, our young ones, who can bring their talents of videography, producing films, making short films, working closely with other film industries. This is what we were talking about. But Madam Speaker, the implementation of this program is not here today. It is because of those efforts that after the inauguration was done, that I had several meetings with Gita and with the administration, and even with talking to another agency, which was PBS, to be able to see if they could be the new caretakers if Gita set it in its priorities at the lowest level, which is described in this presentation, and them sharing to this August body in our efforts of working together to bring in this industry, that we could have this happening, but it was still in their lowest of priorities, which included manufacturing and exporting, financial and legal services, medical tourism, and the last of the totem pole was the film industry. So, Madam Speaker, as the author of the original bill, and one who wants to see a new industry, a filming industry, where millions of dollars that are being escaped today. Mind you, we make $9 million right now that we can realize, but to bring in millions of dollars more based on the trillions of dollars of the multiplier effect that is there, Madam Speaker, I'm asking my colleagues to please help me support this effort to bring the implementation of the film industry to a home within the government of Guam, within our government of Guam, working closely with this administration to bring it to a home where it's going to be loved, it's going to be nurtured, it's going to be implemented, and we can even see the realization of even more monies coming, more job opportunities, more training, and even having the opportunity for one of Guam's own talents to be recognized globally as being great film production managers, producers, facilitators. Madam Speaker, build it and they will come. We have the legislation in place already. We just need to be able to give it to an agency who will put the priority from the lowest priority to bring it up to a priority of how it needs to be programmed for our community to further benefit. Again, Madam Speaker, I'm asking my colleagues that we support those efforts and just find a new home for the film industry and truly find a realization to promote Guam to the rest of the world globally through the eyes of film experts, through the eyes of this new film industry, through the eyes of making more job opportunities, bringing in more resources to Guam, new revenues, and making sure that our beautiful island of Guam is truly embraced with this new industry. So I'm asking that my colleagues support these efforts. I'm hoping I can get a unanimous support, and I'm hoping to continue to work with the administration to find the resources to bring this program up to the forefront. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on this bill. Sinamasi.
Caesar's Masi, Madam Speaker, please note that this is still an appropriations measure. So unless there is amendment made to the bill, we must still proceed into the committee of the whole.
I do apologize, Madam Speaker. In that efforts, I did have an amendment to move to to delete Section 4 from the bill and to allow the Legislative Council to make technical corrections, and I apologize. I did have that on my table.
Thank you. There has been a motion on the floor by the sponsor to delete Section 4 appropriation, lines 10 to 14, page 25. And the deletion will be Section 4 appropriation to ensure the continuing development of the corporation and its film production activities. The amount of $300,000 shall be appropriated and deposited annually from the Tourist Attraction Fund into the Guam Film Commission Corporation Fund for fiscal years 2020 through fiscal year 25, with a concurrence to allow Legislative Council to make technical corrections to the bill as needed. Would anyone like to speak on the motion? Senator Terlahi, Pito Terlahi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise in support of this bill. The author of the bill really amplified the purpose of this bill. And, knowing that it would bring in more revenues to our island and recognizes worldwide on the things that we have on this beautiful island. And it will create more jobs. And I just want to ask the sponsor of this bill to include me as one of the co-sponsors. Thank you very much.
Sijus Masi, Senator Pito, Terlahi. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on the motion? The motion to remove, the motion on lines 10 to 14, page 25, to delete the entirety of section 4 and to allow Legislative Council to make technical corrections. Are there any objections to the motion? No objections, motion passes. We will recess until 2 o'clock this afternoon. Thank you very much.